Okay, sasaga.
So on.
Oh.
Esa, vedaka, malo mbula veikemudrau na sematiku mai na kavinagani kua singa moniti ni katini ni singa ni bulo Januari ena mbaki ronondolu rosanga bulu karua vinaka bakale besar veikemudrau na ronga na kadi mani ngole mai na kavini kua meta me Veitalanoa en singa moniti na tiko baka Matuku na motivational Monday. Mami binaksarwale ni ro bakumbula ro dingoma na nongo kerkera ro naturanga veitamani mai na yano Totoka Matuku veikemudina sema tiko mai daronga chukaya na sere kaya dana tiko namburotu kula kani marau ni ro bangalala tekirau ro naturanga veitamani me ro sema mai veikeda na kavina kanikua singa moniti dina ni ndaki udu tiko tarai Viti tiko na dangi tatamba ia sega ni kotelebi na yalo lai se na yalo me na kakuni na mai Veitalanoa Totoka wakaoti ni ndolu binaka tiko ngana ituva me keto mai Veitalanoa ni kua sa ngoli tiko ni bakamalua na dangi tatamba au ni taka ni na ndaki binaka na siga ni mataka wosi Vitalanga na katoa na nonta Veitalanoa na kaviongo wakatulo sa kachukayani na vei dalia butambu kede sara na tinkawa na veiyasai na mai Viti au nitaka ni rongo binaka tukayani bio libu na Veitalanoa na Talanoa Dr. T na singa moniti na kabini kongo si singa tambu tinko veiketo Hawaii ia kani marau ni dasia marau kero na bubale na Coriakula na koro wakaturango Levukaidaku mai Matuku wakambule tiko vei tasha klani se vakavulici me Hong Kong au nitaka ni na kaisia mai wakatalanga ki notisha mai San Francisco mai California wakatalanga ki no Lola ki na nona matabu vale mai Perth au nitaka talanga ni rotona sema mai na kabina ko iya man sala wakambule sara vero na veitamani ro sa sema tiko mengo na kabina kanikua rombula vinaka na turanga veitamani Netani Coriakula ke Lora Coriakula.
Ia ndo muli vinaka na yadangu ko Laura Unise na yana marami ni Matuku na ya sana ko lau.
Naka na walewu sa maloambula sa pabna na walewu na una vinaka ndamai ndambikina na kabinikua menda mai Veitalanoa kina na ngauna nei Dr. T se maramayano ne kabinikua bina walewu na nomni sureti sa tiko mensiko na dokana rokova kina pala bina kalip na tangunga Netani Coriakula na koro Levukaidaku enen waturang Matuku na sana waturang Malo au wasunga kina koro makandu kina matangali ko molewu na itovo au niburu tiko kina napaka ni molewu wakawati kina koro lewu malevani mai Australia kau sahaja itu kina nikua kasala ki ambaki solution bulu kata Totoka na nungu tiko kina tulu na lubengu na nungu leoni vale o Mary Elizabeth sa liwiani na singa warumbu kasauti ikero sa tiko na veitamani Viti kero sa ngande tiko sa kito vitar tiko sa lang kapatid mo ko ni rong sa tiko na tiko ni tangi tatamba na nonta banua ikero tiko na veiyasai mata tu veikima na tangi tatamba sa kabu iyo ni bula na kabina wali na ngono na kongona nonta mainda me Veitalanoa tiko kina na wali
sabi na makaliw sara Totoka na numero 7 may naturang veitamani ukila ni ngona ni numero ngante Laura are you enjoying your stay in Fiji kumarotaka?
Yes. very much enjoying it.
Vinaka. I was watching some of your posts there in Australia, and I know you were looking forward and doing your countdown to go to Fiji. What was one thing you were looking forward the most to do when you arrived in Fiji?
Oh, to eat. Just to eat Fijian food. Bobo. I think just to see families as well. It's been 2 years since we've been able to be here, and so many events have happened. So again, just to be able to reconnect and just, hug my families.
Vinaka Marotek saranga bakalevu Laura. For most of us, to see your videos and the things that you do in Australia, and also during the Fijian Language Week last year, already nomudrau veitamani, and it was so very encouraging, very positive, and I can see lots of young people connecting with all of you in Melbourne. What was the Fijian Language Week like in Melbourne last year?
sort of was a very last minute, I think, project or plan. I think about 2 days beforehand, usually me and my father, we just Talanoa at home or with just with our community. And I thought, you know, me last minute plan, I said, no, we have to take this online. We've already, there's already so many people that we're reaching out to us. So I thought we'll just share it online and whoever it reaches, it does. And we'll just go from there. It's just about, I think, creating that space and conversation, especially considering the way young people receive information. Everything is online now. It's through these apps. It's not sitting at home around the Talanoa having a conversation. So I think both of us merging that sort of knowledge with my sort of that marketing background and Dad's, you know, we're gonna have to take the Talanoa to Instagram and share it in a different way. And I think as long as they receive an information or just that sort of pebble, then they can go back home and have the conversations.
Wow, that is amazing. I'm gonna ask Dad, how does he feel about taking the Talanoa to Instagram?
He doesn't like it.
With great difficulty. Una vosa mga Viti, una sona banona ko sa balay talaga. Ating utuman tanong na may kerkerolor, may kero veitabate na kena didibaki na program go na vosa mga Viti. Sasaga pati mo ko nando na community center. Ngaragura kina bingon so menabi sa vuravura kasara mo tiko Australia. Yeah, and performing arts. Sangay na numo ko may titibakan na language class. Na vosa mga Viti. Sangay may dikevyo tu kera new takatakabatki ko au sa bola ni rita me sautin sa ngota dum. Iya sama ni laku kero sama ni meta takabata sangay do bitu nga me tuwano ko na kai via takaba. Au sangay linda be mo baka mo ya ni takana kai tuwana mai se mo pon dun takana kai rei dani sangat tuntun. Sena kena itovo dun me tuwani kina. Ina nunggu takatabangas ni buli au sangay pangatake kaya mo kiko kina na kena tuwani na leson. Yang garagi na nonra buli vosa mga Viti nangone sangay rumekina na nonra nganda telangan do na iwas ngone mera buli da na itovo mga Viti na kena ndo tambori na kamnang na kena tingomi na kamnang na tambori ni Angona na kena tingomi na Angona na sangay tingomi embasi kamay na Veitalanoa ni na idavuti ni veiuqeti itu Viti. Me bakandro sa rong tone kevin kuwa kenamua usanga miklato ni ko na embali ni veikeda na embali veikeda kenamua ye mo ni banua mo na itaki mo na ira ko na may veikeda ya la senda na sauda era tarong atuk menangon na taba na kena embali usanga ndo tole mo ko matalata ko siniklato na tarongi no mugasi atau kan ron ko matalata ko sando rong talanga usiran ko daw raw. Kaya nga kilauran buwan daw tako, usapan daw tako. Na puno sinitaw na raw na kinaibalang-bali. O kirita mera tarungiran ng gasi. Ang kung na puno sa akin, tinuto may kinan sa ating rambay levo na kaya via kila ng on. Randam era turutik may kinabulitin na vosa mga Viti. Kasama si kita may kinan na itovo, kinaibalabala mga Viti. So.
Binaka. And for you, Laura, what was important for you? What motivated you to work with Dad?
Well, I forced him most of the time.
Wasn't motivation.
It was more that you just
had
to do it, but he has to do what I say. I think for me, I've always had Dad growing up, all constantly teaching and showing us. So when I started to gain awareness that not everyone had that access to not just a Fijian parent who was quite involved, but even with Dad's teaching background, who's able to articulate in my sort of Western thinking certain teachings. So, and just constantly having people, can you ask your father this, that, and that? You ask him. But, you know, they're very shy. And I think everything just sort of snowballed into just sharing content, theming our weeks, or just deciding, you know, everyone keeps asking about a certain match. So let's just talk about it. And I think just creating that conversation and just letting it flow, and whoever's interested, they join in, and then you find more questions. And I think just making people feel comfortable in not knowing and feeling safe in asking questions and knowing that they can find the answer even if it's not through their own family. So I think I just really love sharing off my father's knowledge and telling him off. So usually, why do people want to know? And sometimes he has to remember, or he does know, but we grew up in a very Western world and Western thinking, and everything is in English. So something that's quite obvious to my father, born and raised in a village setting, we don't have that access in Australia or abroad. So something's not obvious to us. And when we realize there's something to learn, we want to know every part of it. How did it happen? Where did it come from? And who began this? And for my father, the way he learned was through stages. You know, you always learn by watching. And when you become ready, then you learn. And then when you're an elder, you teach. And in the Western world, everything is through a curriculum. And you learn everything at once. So it's trying to merge those two types of learnings and create that sort of
Wow, that is really nice. Yeah.
One of the main things that I keep reminding Laura that the traditional way of teaching and learning is through observing. What I've constantly been told: watch, 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 observe, 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 observe. Listen, listen, listen. Your turn will come where you have to start the practice. So observe, listen, and then the practice comes in. And then while the elders are around you to correct you while you're doing the practice part, and the practice is usually in the actual setting. You don't do it outside the real thing. Real life setting. And that's the teaching learning. It's done through,
on the spot.
Whereas, the Western world, you go to school, you get given the book, you read from the book, and then you get
test and exam, rehearsal.
Every day in Fiji. So it's rethinking how they learn the process, or understand the process of learning traditional.
Yes, it's so beautiful to see the merging of two worlds of learning. Nakana baka papalangi, what kana baka Viti. So it's really lovely that the two of you are through the work that you do. I'll at a later time I'll get you to explain about the Meke movement that you are working on, that bridge the generations, bridge two worlds. And it's really nice that the young people attracted to it, and through social media and using technology to make that story come alive. Yeah, Laura? Yeah, and make it more palatable for those who want to learn. And since you mentioned about the village, the word village made my ear will go like this. So I'm going to ask Ted about his upbringing. Menakoro, rambat nangan yo pamadala tikinibike mami Netani na nomumbula menakoro num setor bolay so na kausia na numa na non robi batawli ng kasi menakoro. Rani wasiya man weekend?
Naka tinga de ono sa bulo sutukina o kilatunga ni may ngai tuna de tinango algo may suba kito le tinikandua eu na kabitu ningon sa man tunu may suba sangai le stali na kor o tumuta kinanto na bobale budina na lotu kena ngarabi na vanua ngarabi na lotu na kena baka kaukotaki na buli and the wool. Kaukulatu kina kito tiko may lepenta ko na korrebule tiko may makando na korrebule ng Levrate District School. Ngon sa tiko kina na buli kima may yanra na matakalalay sa tunay tabi kim garabo tunay leon na kinatokan ti na basumbarawa tanganin na renew kauraw may sonambuka sanga kim sisili na kanang ti kami sangkay tombali, rota chuna indo na ya uwata na tombali may Levukaidaku makanto chini na mail. And the tombali taka na mataka chini na mail na kabi. Ito binibira na tiko ipalangin ng balabo ni Bono na tombali taka. Rabaredi kenta ha? Apa iya nang bula mena kore singa pinto na kabi kima mena pala ni na yaw ni puno ya. Kima miti tunga ya to sanantua. Kima pintu na Viti kima ya nawal na kalok ni bernikir na lali nawal ni kem sati ko puno. Kem santa ya ni na sona barabia sanga do kumuni na buka me kim tolam buka na buka nang kasni buli. Me kau ya ni ko buli. Sa ana veika kima mi bagatora na ni buli na buli. Kita una uda se dava kenda la ngai buli senga na tiko ivani so na ngona santa takava mi so no de inform na no menda su ivali alo yani tuko ni bisa wika para tabe na sulika e senga ni tuana ba tala ivali kene karu era tu telangan bio kani na kore ana kor kito baskina kaya vena da susu enda matala na kor menda la bisa o mena kor de la mi kor buli nangono ni buli tiko talanga nangono daw takina na buli ng bong era tiko tala nangono ni buli me ato ni sasu kana buli ng bong kim sanga daw lako kim na lista na kor di na baraw ng bong me kim ya lista li penda tombali ng bong to so we kimam sando tiko me na kor makandro ramodi kina me ngaileso na uts na buli na sing tarava sanga ilesa pa baraw na bitarong se na bitarong lebu na pakamba ana ya que me sigan el rey de menrenre na bula bakae yo rei de lesu endo na bula eso es rei de tiko menrenre na renre ni bula rei de tiko endo na bula vakavulici na noda bula ni itovo cakacakaniliga vakavulici na noda kau ni vakasa matanataki itovo veikeda kenda lau tingon salan de yakana da vokania kenda lau tingon sala maboa tabo taka ke lau tingon sala Talanoa na tabo taka ana kake o vakavulici na ngona o kake na lau ite ke no mataglelai ana singa maroroi lima na kalok sa tabi na isela kabe itu balito ngasi itu ratu saya andra na leni vale ni kem sala ko ni titi na tangani sa lista na kamera na kabana lewa ko kombuko ko vilniu ko vakasanga kim lawan ni titingo kim gelistan sumai sa uci na basingelip nang bibi na mataglele asando uso na ngona sa polisi ni tuna ay kusaka uci ruto ngona samber tindikana sa singelip panua kata lemen itu ratu akaka na ngini tubikau kana biakane kana nga kono nga tu kana kaka na bikau aniu a China kaka na nga biakan ni orang kawatabu ko tabu tatab ana posendo mga na survival skills o keran ni mga tano ko sa mga balang ko kaki na sombe ka rede ni bulan renre yani rede les santo na kana kami da kana tali endo musitio ni baka sa mataka nambula sa laurich ni kuwa nan renre sa Totoka yana ni ba to batatay na bula kim sa takame siyang sarangan dutan na bula kim sa Totoka man ni susumena ko an ram taglelay ni singo ruway sa uklato nga kiwa yan raber ona muko yan ram ona santa ubo kacu me alam nganda andra nda sarong ota satu na mas na tul na kalok sa ta kacu na mas na lut na lang serre na taglelay yan ta sayan talanga me lut sa ucingan lut ya ko tala pamot madre mo nan mo sa utu ta sarangan na ya bal mo lo dititi sa lisumene titi sa tu tala tu na program niya kad ko me lagi biliniu ko le kaumbuka ko bukan indraya na vitabiso na kad orto rasabi sulu na bibu kana basanga vitabiso mengarabi na lomani bubay
sa Totoka bakauti na nomuasia tok meyan na nomumbula mena kore la ko batcho na baka nga taking nai so Laura that's time management at its best yeah 3 a.m. wake up time yeah
alam sartungaya
sa Totoka bakauti iya osakila ni orto nangman salis me na kore Laura you been to Levukaidaku
Yeah. Many times.
So Tasha is here. Bula Tasha. So she's connecting in from Hong Kong. Vinaka Tasha. So for you, Laura, hearing what Dad has just shared about his upbringing, 3 a.m. wake up time, nalay kaumbawar may sila to really new, all these things that they do when he was a young boy. when you went to Levukaidaku, Laura, what was your experience and impression of hearing that story and what you saw?
I wanted to do the same thing. We're on the village. It's life.
Wow.
There's no point there on your laptop or on your phone. You just stay in your country otherwise. I think to be connected to a land where it's entirely all your ancestors who are born and raised and lived there, and to understand that when you're on the village, there's a certain lifestyle to live and a way to live. And everyone has their job roles that keeps the village functioning. Each matangali or yavusa, you all have certain roles to play within your families, and together it just keeps the village thriving. So every time we return, Dad would have to have a chat with us. Okay, these are the rules, and you don't do this and you don't do that. And I think I was quite excited just to experience something that wasn't Melbourne, that wasn't very palangi or just westernized. Something, as a Fijian woman, this is how I connect, is by being on the village and understanding from the beginning what it means to be not just Fijian, but from Matuku, from Levukaidaku. This is our way of life. This is what my family does. This is our job roles. I think catching crabs, that was my favorite thing to do.
I was going to ask, what was your favorite job in the village?
Oh, catching crabs, and all the aunties, no, Laura, you stay. I said, no, I'm going. And they were just laughing, and I just come back with just such a big smile. It's just such a great experience that you can't learn this anywhere else other than your own village. You can't replicate it, you can't teach it, you can't read it from a book.
You have to do it. Yeah, you have to be
there.
there.
And live it. Yeah.
Yes. Wow.
Wake up before the sun and work through the day. And
Wow. Yes. And I know you mentioned the word rules, right? So I can picture Dad speaking to all of you in Melbourne and telling you
myself.
So these are the rules, and I can tell that Laura can be a rule breaker or law breaker a little bit.
A law breaker.
Just curious.
Just curious. So out of all those, carry on.
Just testing the boundaries. How far can she push the boundaries?
I think my father, knowing I'm quite, I'm not sure, he used to say as a child I was very fearless, and even before I could speak, I would just wander off and do anything and follow everybody and always want to see things. And even on the village, that was how I responded. I wasn't clinging at all to them. I was happily running off with everyone else. So when we were older, it was, okay, don't run off and drink grog at someone's house. And, at nighttime, you can't be crossing around, and especially during New Year, everyone's throwing water at each other and flour here and there. So it was a lot of within boundaries. This is what you can do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, vinaka. Netani, the na nomu na bika na bimbi bikim ni netani na nonrotu kau nangon mertongol na por.
Vinaka, upombo tana kena na nonrevo nga mertu sematile sukina vanua au la maikina. Dona kambimbi truvia unerto tula chiko Viti. I'm a Fijian. Bimbia umerto tukuna chiko itaukei Viti erto kilachiko ibena vanua erto abu maikina. Kabu maikina na tamangatu. Ya nampak mateni kau sanga merto pelaku merto le radar to pengantinan dinataka me varoni bola. Erto nang kami tuna chiko nang ni Viti mai Levukaidaku mai Matuku mai Malo. Erto salis maikina erto sakila na kartu sale reda ultimai serto di tomole na bula mai na kor kene karuanga na bunu sale tiko kina na bula tos tiko na bula sa usanga smai sama tua mai ia imbimbi ya umerto u vante veikemudrau ni kara ni gai ya pemena ngauna Ausasi kan ironi to cerita kina to sakile to sakila na kan to sema lesu kina banua kina be matu kina matabupan apa ko mbi to be au bertu kila na ponua tu semkina kena tu ya butu kena itovo na vakadrau na valavala na kai en dono mtakava na kai sen dono mtakava na eva menanguna tu na waktu lawa tigre tu anong kita mo meu sema tirotoro na tena waktu lawa tak na ngau na muri sana kai nomor 2 na nomor 2 sema itu tiko sesena tata kavulici na kita wakata ya ambe kana kai bimbi tu vea ngona kawareta mai vero na gasi kauna nomani dono takava sama iwa taka bertu ngone satu gas itu mertu satu satu bertu na waktu lawa kenapa kuriti konesema ya sisenga sana nomor tundindi sana berarti moya bisa vakavulici na kita wakata mana bisa tirotoro
sa Totoka vakavulici binakabalik sara Netani na bibakal kang kata kibikimem ni tumbu lever barong tuk menikua levukimem na tuivalangi lev talangar tu na bitawu ni Viti na bimbi ni nonra kau nangon ni nakoro so I'll come back to you, Laura. You know, it sounds like you're so animated when you expressed your feelings of going to Levukaidaku. You know, you look so happy. What would be your advice, you know, to our young friends, young Fijians who are living overseas, who are watching this, and also to parents who are living overseas as well, or those living in Fiji in the urban areas, on the importance of going back to your village?
Well, me and my father we share the same view, and it does sound maybe a bit harsh, but if you lose your way of life, we're going to lose the culture. You lose your language, you lose your culture. Living in Australia, I see that firsthand with our Indigenous Aboriginal people there. And that wasn't at all their fault. That was, you know, due to the history of Australia. But you can see when you start to lose the language, you already can't practice protocol. I've never seen protocols done in English, you know? And I think language is beautiful. And I myself, I don't speak fluent. However, I didn't allow that to stop me from learning other things. I still said, okay, I'm going to learn it at the same time as well as learn the other attributes to a Fijian lifestyle. But particularly in the village, that is a unique way of living to each tikina, even not just Fijians as a whole, but each yasana has a different practice. Each tikina has a different practice. So I think it's very important you can still have both, but when we start idolizing the Western culture, when we start idolizing English and we want to live like Westerners, then we start being, a slave to money, because you need money to live like a Western person. And that's fine. If you want that lifestyle, that is okay. But, you know, when you're on the village, you live the village way. We barter on the village. We all help and we share. So I think it's just understanding the two differences and still being empowered in both ways. And I think it's very easy to leave the village and like the Suva lifestyle. That's fine. But, you know, don't forget the village.
back to your roots.
Because, you know, there's nothing like it. You can't replicate it once it's gone, you know.
Sa Totoka vakavulici binakabakalevu that's speaking from the heart. Veikeda na waramo tiko mai o klando no posi binaksarangat kuna o Laura na kena bimbi na nonde sia matale ki vanua na puna ta mangada tiko mikina veikemni Netani na buku ni nomudrau ni marama ni Australia na daba na nona rai na buku ni nomu veivakararamataki tiko bertonangon ni marama tinan ratu marama ni Australia dona nomu vakamadala na tikina ya
Tauman dan kau biorita kana noda vosa vakadrau veira na tukuna vakadrau veira na ka embeliti kenda noda Veitalanoa. Be honest, upfront. Yang bekan tu naik baru nimbu lagi rawat tahu yang kino kirau. Na kaki tu tak kabu berita kabua. Na ukut tiga sari na koro kiro lebo mau mena koro. Sare na me kone mbula waka me na koro. O kouti koe mai me vikelei wa te kira na kangu na ngu vale. O kouti reni valangi. Ye e tali kina via umbeleta ni na vosa doktu noko ya. You just tell me what I have to do. I embrace the culture. I don't know it, but I embrace it. But all you have to do is tell me what I have to do, where I have to sit, what I have to say, and what do I need to do. So I don't want to look out of place. Ana vosa doktu noko via ko kakina ni sa tingo mo koe na ka na nongu valavala se na itovo ni vono lo ka ni kina na no do Veitalanoa ba ndon bo pimpi ba tikir na marama ni valangi ya ba ti na tina to na moni ni ra kilati ko na ka na do vaka ba menda ba mavala tibira e rawa na nda taka ba tikir ni ra kila na ka nda ka tiko ke ba kan da ka tinga so na no sa to tolu sa silva mavala taka na ka taka ando tu no ka mesange tarong ko Malo tu na pusot sa leka nang no sabi ko tolta kana ka o sange kinda ba ni sauda ka bu sange ba matala ta ko ilio na ka eta de kilaro pa na ko ro ta sange turu me kinor tu nongon tu sange do ba matala nongon tu saklat okay sando ilio kero na pa sanga ke ka kero ba burlang kero ba sanga sana wili lebi de la mai ka ka ta na ka kane ro ta Yongo ngai tuku ni ginda tuna taka songo tika na kana tak sa kero lebu sa sengan tuku ni bi tela mai sa bulinga na kakana dono pro lebu na kango sando gai bona kakana sa di taw na tal na kana kakana mitaw sa batka na kinai barau ni nonda bulo kenda sa klach ko kana kakana do chona kangi bi ni nonda bula ni na tiko na songo bata batka na ni robula mai sana telanga kan tua ento na kana live ni kanya randa ngole ani ki kira or ki tiko vale lai sanga to sar lai ngande an lai tiko le sumai sa tiko kina me sema be kanya telanga kino ko ki na taban mo ibi pero na bulan randa ngole ani na taban mo mer le tiko sa tiko mi itaukei mbeka na kan tuku ni weekenda ngai don pa bulan benaka nona la come yara mai sota betina sosa dona kana na maroroi ni redira na sota ri lomudrau ia na kanga bibi tu kana nonda vakamatala takati ko na kai ato tiko se varu ya se varu ka na bikili takati
Sabina nakavali besar Malo bakali besar Netani and Laura was just asking Dad about Mom and so you are very happy that you're able to bridge, right? These two worlds with the mom side and with the Matuku side. And I know there's a few here. I think Tasha is just tagged Mom. So Mom, I'm sure will be listening. So is there something you want to say to Mom? Because it looks like she's watching and listening here. Just for your appreciation about your culture and appreciating both, actually. I really like what you said. You know, you living in two worlds or embracing what Mom has to offer and also for Dad. Would you like to say something there?
I think for myself growing up, I was very close to my mother, and that was also, again, the environment. It made sense, and it actually, you know, as close as me and my father are now, it was not necessarily true growing up. We were very much always attacking each other, and I couldn't understand my father, but there was always my mother there to help sort of make us both understand each other. And it wasn't until I came and schooled here in the West at Natambua for a year. And I just went, I get my father. Everything I said, because I understood how he lived. I understood his family. I understood the Fijian way of life. And when I came back home, it was a completely different relationship I had with my father. And it just continued to grow, and especially through lockdown. So I think, you know, Mum's probably finally relieved that she doesn't have to keep jumping in and, you know, being a referee. And even I think my mother learning an entirely new culture where growing up for her that you probably didn't even know what Fiji was. So she definitely understood what me and my siblings had to go through, and not just learning what it is to be a Fijian, but understanding how to relate to my father. He's a very traditional Fijian man who grew up on the village. You know, he wasn't born or raised in Australia. No matter where my father is in the world, he's a Fijian man. And everything he does will continue to do and practice as the Fijian way. So yeah. Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom. Oh yeah, she's watching.
Thanks for her tolerance. However, now she's got 2 Fijians in the house that she has to deal with. So
oh, Veivakararamataki. So I can see that she's sending some messages. Veivakararamataki, Malo, Mary for logging in. Yeah. Yeah, that's so beautiful. I'm going to come back to you for the question of Natambua. I find that interesting. So for those of you who are ex-Natambua High, there's an old scholar right here.
Right here. And that's because my father wouldn't let me go to ACS. So I do fangirl any OG ACS, but Natambua, yes.
Veivakararamataki. So I'll come back to you, Netani. Na nomubuli na may nakporo. O sangali ki buli matebe na nomubuli ni secondary. Mateni taro ken karua. Levura taro machukumengo. Adaw sara ko sala ki malata sara ki malevani.
So satu wala ni sanay.
Isa ko nila ngarong pinakachukumay.
Sabi na kayo huli wa kimengelebrata. O sangkay may huli na Costco High di Samambula. Ito ba ni sa gaya ko ndewa sa na Senior Teachers College, NPC. O timay na nung huli ng kasnibuli. Ang sa lesisara mo ulit baka na kornibuli bira na isaipo. Namatay nung lisbase. Kau salah ki yang pati Totoka sanggai vakavulici Australia na scholarship oleh Viti. Veiuqeti mai Australia udah setelah mai nakapaka yang pati dua. Au sa nakapaka talangan nung sabi ala ko pala pingusan dia wakita. Masal Australia. Abu na lebungan na opportunity. Lesimai kita sa lebu na Veiuqeti mai nagtambah ni special ed. Ya kita sa may bin ko kornibuli ka sangat ko na opportunity later ko na kornibuli kita dulu panas libu komunis sa akin na mo listalitay ini kadiwa wadu sa kalima au sa laku kinabukan di Australia sa laku mainan ng bola ker ni Veivakararamataki kasala ki leoni banua kina di Australia sa raw kina na ker kana nanda laku na kembali immigration Mena terusol kantor ni Desember tinggal di unsur kelima au sala dia ni bonus na may Australia na korling kumalabanya kaya to betul menikua sala ki sala to kinawakang ko lagi mama to kinayabang ko sala ki mira to kinanu kumemburu tukula
Totoka vakavulici.
Senga ni alibeya na ay mabubuli sa nabeka awa tumberi da kenikina nandengan ni tiko may tay na kena tiko me boboto may beyaw na mabubuli ka nabeka aw sa tiko me sayaw may beyaw aw sangay ngandre pa mo bakandita ka bona ka balitiyaw bona ka nong endo dono me maroroi ka bakandita ka birna dubem na kena enang ya kaya to men kuar rangai itu nangon ya saat itu orang na iwarau di kena nondra tinggo minangon na man ni sangaya pampai era romboti era na wala kedi ni nondra sudu ne ato sara ki nondra kau nangon na kor kena nondra tau kau nangon kina vivu vale ra veikeda ra sudu merkau ibakarita kitsi ko ni no bukan Totoka kitsi ko na ibakarau baka Viti sa Panua na bono salit ko kina tiko ba awa bulan yan kasala kinung korbo tiko
Totoka
pempeka anto na kay tara salin tinte sangkit tiko membambas ka mai me but me biya ne ba buleso na bekawan daw rei ni vaka na bi barrawe so do rei da karongoda ni vaka na Bengkarai Panua na katotoka sangkay pasti kami ba miato sarana kini ka dio ono so ka dio kan pasti kina na babakula ni benasati ko bikebi olora meu public ko na vavakula sena tali va volvengo ina ivaro vakavulici ngura na vakadrakai leo ko takila vavakula kona lakna viro nomuni mai Viti era una gava vakavulici kona vavakula saya ngai diketok nga kau sanga ibu pendasi ko reda ndo nga vavakula au kila au aba veitamani sini ka dio no solo ka diwa vavakula chukina ni tuna kima sanga itovo ilalangon ilalengo ni kima mi serkula tiko na serkula sanga vakarai veikemami ya kula vakaroni kula chingo pala kina bangga di vasua ya dom tak na pambula lailai
Oh, sakar marsar cengana turanga mai Levukaidaku.
Bandua sanga cek lagi na sini kan dia orang solo kan dia sanga yang orang pakabakasan tak kasih pala boy dia yang baik. Obsakela juga kena lagi pala kena dula kena bo dia kena tinggi belum sanga sangat kena kelaro. Sa tiket toko ya terus sanga melata sanga di pala kena tahu itu ya mereka pelat. Tapi guna ronga yo kocean, sanga iya apa mereka mau tombe kini. Sakirong kay sesi tigo sangka seni kula itu yo kene tinggu cena pala pakai di merah di kina kena to embong itu tombe sere itu pun sangka kasaron pakasama kene pala bau karena sangka kina sangka kecil ya sangka kene kina long itu orang mengi
Totoka Makochi. Laura, your video was went a little bit viral, I'm sure. Every Fijian was so happy to see your video, with your Navavakula, Navanka Vasua. So what motivated you? What made you ask Dad to want to learn?
Hope you can hear us. It's quite loud here. Yeah. I think having all that home time because of COVID, I really, we spent a lot of time at home, like just ordering mats and giving mats away. So I was already quite invested in the low and mats and masu. And I said, I just want to do it myself. We're spending so much time and effort ordering from Viti. If we could do it here in the lounge room, it's just so much, it's efficient, and I said, Dad, teach me. And he said, hey, I can't teach you. So I said, fine, I'm going to take one of my small itovo. I said, I'm just going to try and copy. I have all our mats here from the family. I'm just going to copy and see what comes up. So one day, Dad had one old mat. We found a mat with the moths had eaten the wool. So when we took all the wool off, I smiled. I said, oh, this is a good practice mat. And my father said, okay, fine. And we were both very creative people. So let's just try and see what happens. We've been in lockdown for months in Melbourne and no job, nothing to do. So we had the time and we had that mental space to start such a big project. And I didn't think anyone would see it. I said, this is just something that is just for me and him and no one will know about it. And it just kind of became a massive project that everyone was invested in watching right from the first row until And again, because we couldn't figure out some of the pula, Dad said, oh, let's just try like kind of a crochet. Okay. And it just took on a life of its own. Every day or every week, we just came up with a new design and something special. And then I think we just had a screenshot, or Dad had a tape from the 90s of one of my grandmother's mats, and she'd made that in the 60s, but they were using it for my sister's first birthday. So this VHS tape from 91, and we just had 3 seconds of the camera panning over this mat. So we paused it, took a photo of it, and Dad said, "Yeah, vangani vasua," and it's extremely blurry. But I said, "Okay, with your memory and this, we're gonna try our best." So it was a lot of fun, lots of trial and error. You know, staying up to 6 a.m. in the morning, and just really excited to see it.
A lot of painstaking work in trying to recall memories of 1969.
Wow.
That's a long time.
Over
Long
50 years
time.
ago, and even the little details. And again, it's a lot of people think it's a brand new match, and I said, no, we're reviving something from years. And even so, usually the vangani vasua that's woven with the voi. But we didn't have voi, so we said, let's just make shapes with the kula. You know, we do what we can, and I think that's one of our biggest strengths both have, is just always finding a new solution and trying to make it work. We always make it work.
Try another
with
way.
Style.
Dina.
I always tell everyone, I actually didn't know my Instagram was linked to Facebook. So when I posted on Instagram, I had no idea it had shared
It
across
went on
Facebook.
Facebook.
And I've flown to Fiji, I've had no Wi-Fi, and all of a sudden everyone's like, Lara, and I'm like, what? They're like, your Facebook. And I thought, oh, someone hacked me maybe.
Yeah.
And I saw it, I said, hey, that's me. And I said, Dad, we're on FM 96. Why? The map that was never supposed to be or be seen, and it's now around the world. So it's very emotional. You know, if my grandmother was here,
Dina.
to know that it's because of her and her work as well, and her involvement.
She was the artist. My mother was an artist in every word, sense of the word. O e kilai o koe na vavakula ke na vei matangali vavakula ke venga. Ondo tupuna tuivara tonongo ne o koe a kalasitolu nga sa rasuka na ngau nea rasambi o vuli. Kalasitolu rasambi o vuli, sara era vuli nga na vuli ni vuli vol singa tamu Sunday school. Ondo gas ni vuli nga ne vakatao se kalasitolu nga o sa bagtinkaon o sambi o vuli o sa ngone leo. Sa waro sa tunga na wakawati na wakabubali. Ana yang bagi ndatuna juga o kalasitolu nga yena takataka ni vavakula. Kenda rete ko mavakavinaka. Ito na kanay warete nga ko atakabuka ng bembe na mataningaw na takabana ken ng bembe. Tombo man ng bembe bilo man taw namo sangkay bibuka ito ng bembe sangkay warete to ko ko. Ya. Warete to ko with sangkay tombo ng bembe duba mo ira sangkay rete ko na tambana na kakit. May nanonarita nga ya takabakina na imbe kwa chukina ng bembe. Ya to man ko sa may takabati ko na sisgo. Ko sa chukuan na talent kada.
Totoka saranga. So for you, Laura, how does your nay feel? Maybe at some point we'll take the camera to her for you just to show what she's doing. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Atakabat ko and tuan na imbe ni Matuku na tusi.
I'll just show you now.
Wow. So wow. Quando na imbe ni Matuku, eh?
Matusi.
Wow. Sa Totoka makaoti. Roni ba madaltak matanga may Netani so ne.
Yep.
Iya, ni mbula binakayano. Iya, endo echi ko moringo. Ngo se takapasaro nito na Kweli toka muringo. Sengai kalasi bida chukina no bulu matua darbo. Ko bola chukina da nango. Mai tukuno ko biau. Bisa angkasi tiko au kilau sana sangania to bana baka mau ni vang. Iya, au sambi tombo au sapasapara mai ko. Na au satakamai ko iko yang au sanga me bakulata. Yana palapuningaw na yan, nung kitarbo sa pagitulong sa pulutan tuang ko, na yung bagsawit sa hanggang may bakula ito, ginayimpeng ko, may nabarauti ko na ng dabang-dabang ni Bama. Iyo. Na tusi, na ipakaya mo na ito ikuan lilichong ko na tusi. tiko ira na maramani Matuku era dakava na ambesomo meratalia sa ya uni sa siang nung ngau na ni talitali sa wawakulanga sa nakangau dakava sa talinga mai beau aungai mai kulata sa siang nangau na ni nunggu talitali ya mungo na tusi na imbenrendre na nandelang davu sena tini wa bibe yani sabo ka somo nga sa na tusi en nakainrendre kina daka baleta na do wiri chiko baka tolu na kena daka na tula na mataingo dio Netalikula na dan Netalikula ngona vakavulici city na uchingo sanga mulo mai sana uchina mulo me do wiri talinga na vakavulici city na dan Netalikula ngo uchingo sana gai mulo uchina mulo sanga ibukina imbe sanga ibatula sanga uchi waya ndendre kina erau da kina bakula tana bakambati ndendre na dakava na tusi sena tinwabi bimbaleta ni do wiri chiku bakalebe etol na kena duwiri o bakambati kusaba bakula tungamba ibakandua kwa ya rau kina na buli Bongo ena tingu na biba bulini ike bakana mai na katolora me buli au kabi kwa iti kwa vida tale na imbe banko ena tingu kina na buli iya so kana biki mami ke baka ko kachi bakina ia kona kilanga balete ni sachi ko rauni kena yalo ni via buli mo kila ia kona rawata na kila Obe ngane po madalangani sa kaibe pala yamba pala chico iyo
Totoka bakoche beto tala nung putaro o vetarong na namanda na ela kunung bakasama niyo sarongo di lora ni sa huli de chico na babakula may maleman adava nomu bakasama ni na kenanum sarongo
iyo na veiau baleta au kaya ni sa chico ina nontanra na kila ningam na ngau sana biak laki no dakta bosa na kila o iau au kalasiwalu seleve o tinangu na matai ni dodo au teku na bakula dodo ni na dodo me toto meno kuna na baka mau ni no yaga ni choweli tabang ya usingai kalasiwalu ya na matai ni mbe kulata mele ya ko sara ni usango ni lewa na matai ni bakambati seleve yau ka ko lubata na kulambo bisau tak na yaga au saka ha mi ubaba kulamada ka ko ndambe nga wala au sana kai kachungaya ni asal nga usama ni sereka au dakava au manirawat ucia sangai matai ni bakambati seleve mo dakava ndua bati tolu sanga bola katu dio katu tolu kakwa wona baba kula mana dakava na ka au kamena sagareda na baba kula au sakila saran to bolata au mendakava uti sa uti sala ingasi saratok sakakwa Eda kaba chuko endo na kuila kakwa la kumai ndambe muriau ngau ne daba ngaki ne ndo ngana bachina ngai kakwa isa au samara ni unangai mate endo veikemudrau satora no bakaba ia me ado chumengo na design ke dengan do dakaba au saran dakaba eda kaba na kuila ni Viti au sa dakaba chendua dakaba na mbembe au sa dakaba chtelanganjua au sa bonje na tikina e chiko na nonda kenda u dakako tinam dau tal enda na sanga enda na rawat yani sama dakaba chikolor au sa bango yo it's in the blood ya au sa marata wale yang ko na leso tamana ka ko mi chiko talvale lebe ya me bulitale na baba kula au marau takasar di sama nakate mena buli yesa ya roto no ngone leo Viti roto o klar to na boli nga
iya aku lora to ke
boli be lora
to boli lora so malo Totoka binaka bakalem saro ni takatal da talangon e murdar kay Veitalanoa tal binaka bakalem sa Totoka bakawochi na Veitalanoa Naka Laura. Wow, what a very interesting story from your name. Tasha is really missing this Talanoa. Tasha, you should join us. Log in, you know the login, Tasha. So it looks like Laura, you'll be staying behind. That's the story.
Yes. Long term. Just lock me down here, that's all.
Kaya baka solikina nangalala, hubo ta sana tunga Viti. Au satu tika ko na numero que bulono nga na mugisa ko latur mo sa siyan.
Ala ko sana mo stay lor.
Ala ko di porta kaya.
So Totoka. Wow, that's amazing. I really like what Nay said. It's in the blood. So do you believe what Nay said in terms of just that longing you had? You just wanted to learn. You even asked Dad to teach you.
I think also knowing, so I'm also named after my grandmother. So I think learning as well the importance of your yaga and the name, it just sort of felt a lot of duty. I think that's something Dad always teaches us. It's not just about, in the blood, it's also sometimes just this duty inside of me that's, I just have to learn and carry on legacy. And I think if anyone knows my father in Melbourne, he's the king of mats and masi. So again, I've had that access growing up. That's a privilege being overseas and having my father being so well versed and a collector of all cultural artifacts. So I've always had that in my mind and seen it. And he's always, and I usually follow him to all the songo. So it's only him telling me, put this there, move this here, fix this, swap this. And it got to a point where he would just watch me and go, okay, now again, through practice, now you do it by yourself. And he will correct me. And I think I only felt it suiting. The next step is being able to weave all the mats myself and do the vavakula. I felt sort of ready. And for me, there's never any, with COVID, I thought this is opportunity for me. I'm always traveling globally. So I'm actually rarely home with my parents. So I said, this is the first time I'm returning home after 10 years to our family house. So I said, quick, teach me now, language, culture, everything. We're quick.
All at once.
Because when the borders open, I always run away. So
all of the above.
And I think living at home and again, just drinking grog every night in lockdown, the conversations just really spiraled. And I think my father also got to learn me as an older woman. And that's a thing, the last time I was home, I was 16. So again, as much as I'm the same person, there's so much growth that happens. And I think the importance is creating a friendship with your parents, even though it might sound a bit, tambu, it was just about that helped the relationship.
That's probably one of the bridging point in our relationship. Rather than father and daughter, you also become close friends, where you can share things. Can't come to me, so I'll go to mum, type of thing. So being able to openly talk to your father about things, whereas in the Fijian culture, the girls will go to the mum and the boys will come to the dad. So we have started to bridge that by talking about all kinds of topics.
And I say I can't learn. I don't have any. I do have some family in Melbourne, but I said if you don't teach me the woman or the women's roles, especially within our family, I might not learn. So again, to my father's credit, having that open mind as well as having that teaching background, he was able to differentiate, okay, this is what men do and this is what women do, and play both roles, knowing that I am from a mixed background and my mother can't teach me these things. And I can only ask questions to my knee, but in the moment, that's what for me is important, is learning in the moment while we're at these functions or events or something is coming up. Then Dad would do a very good job of, okay, you need to do this, you stand there, you go here, and be able to teach me those things.
And I remember for your schooling, you mentioned ACS and you ended up in Natambua. So what was the conversation between you and Dad and Mom? How did that happen?
Well,
hang on a second. We had 1 week to go back to Melbourne, and then she turned around and said, I don't want to go back, I want to stay here. And we all looked at each other going, we've just come back from Matuku. And we're going, you can't stay here.
I
School's
had a
about to start.
revelation.
No, I want to stay here. I'll go to school here. So she was determined that's what she was going to do. There was no way that was going to change her mind or do anything else. I'll run away if you don't let me stay.
I'll run away back to Malo.
So all right, we had to do quick thinking. What do we do now?
Well, they didn't take me seriously, and I just said, okay, if you know me, you know I'm going to stay. And days got closer, and Mum was like, Netani, you know her. She's not going to get on that plane. So you need to do something. And my father looked at me thinking, I never wanted to come in the first place. I think at that time I was 16, and it'd been a few years since I'd actually come back to Fiji. So when we were supposed to come back for the trip, I said, no, I'm going to stay in Australia and party with my friends. Like I didn't have any, I think, a personal connection. I thought, yeah, I love my family there, but I didn't.
That's Laura.
If my family are leaving, then I have a whole free house at home to party. So of course they sent me off first on the plane, and I was alone for 2 weeks in the west side with my father's older brother, my Talanoa. And when I boarded the plane, I had my pink high heels, my nice thin strap pink dress on, lots of nail polish, jewelry, straight hair, makeup. Got on the plane with my handbag, thinking, my parents don't understand me, I'm a misunderstood child. And I remember I was crying with my friends, like, my family, they're sending me away to Fiji, And I got off the plane and went through it. As I checked out, I saw my Nalev, one of my cousins who I had met. And immediately I felt uncomfortable because I felt like how I was dressed did not at all relate to what was inside. And day by day, the nail polish came off, the hair came curly, the jewelry came off, all my clothes, my t-shirt was inside out, back to front. I had the shorts on, sulu on, pato. When these guys picked me up, they're looking at me like, who is this girl? Did she just come from the village?
Transformed.
And, I remember sitting the first day we sat at my family house, and I did not understand one word. And I thought to myself, call yourself a Fijian. And I couldn't comprehend one word of the conversations. But I just sat there thinking, oh my goodness, what are they speaking? I was very foreign, and that was such a reality check to me of identifying as a Fijian and the reality of living as a Fijian, But I was, again, once we came back from the village, I just felt like home, and I just said, I've never had this feeling of belonging somewhere, of having so much family support. And I have my mother's family, but again, I think I really geared to more of a Fijian woman. So to actually have my Fijian family around me, my sisters and my aunties who are Fijian women, I just related so much more. And I said, I'm never coming back to Australia.
That was it.
And then Dad said, okay, well, we'll leave you on the west side, away from Suva.
West is best. But
I was very reluctant, but I thought, as long as I'm here, I'll make it work. And I loved, my cousin brothers, my seven brothers.
It's a family of 7 boys.
7 boys and 1 girl. And it was the best fun. It was learning. It was, I'm going to sit on the floor. I'm going to eat with my hands, and I want to feel, and going to, if my school friends are watching, I know they're going to want to tell me this story. So my first day of school. Yeah. So of course I'm like, in Australia, you can dress how you like. Sometimes there's uniform or not, but.
Well, I think you need to tell them the day we went to buy your uniform before we left.
So
the white dress.
Obviously, again, it was still take me a while to understand the language. So I've gone, and they're like, "This is your uniform," and I'm like, "That's a tablecloth." I'm not okay. What's an alternative? Because we have about 5 different dresses to wear. I said, "What else can we wear?" No, you have to wear this, and I was like, "Can I cut it so it's like a thin strap?" Because I was like, oh, okay. So then I was like, okay, make it short, around my thigh. And then all looked at each other, and Dad in Fiji must have said, put it to her cuff.
I said, only one length. It's below the knee.
And I was like, can you put it higher? Dad's like, leave it there. I was like, okay, to the knees. And they, oh man, I could tell they were looking like, oh.
And her first reaction was that I look like the flying nun.
I look like a nun. And so I thought, you know what? I know how to sew. I thought when Dad leaves, I'm going to sew the dress, you know?
And?
So we done it all. And then first day of school, and me and my brother were getting ready for school. And so my brother passed away last year, but we have such great memories together. And I remember getting ready in the morning and he was like, Laura, you can't wear that. Why are you doing that? Laura, take that off your face. And I'm putting mascara on in my earrings. And Mochi was like, oh, Laura, everyone's going to stare at you. And as we're about to leave the house, I start putting on socks. And Mochi looked at me and said, if you put those socks on, I'm not talking to you at school. And I said, I wear socks in Australia. So I put my white socks on, I put my sandals on, and I wore my bag, and I said, this is how I dress. That's fine. So we walked to school, and I'm looking everyone, no one is wearing socks but me. And I thought, no, this is what I like. So for a good week, I was wearing socks, and everyone, who's the Palang you're wearing socks? She has the same name as Mochi. So Mochi was trying to guide me, and everyone made the connection straight away. That's Mochi's sister. And then he introduced me to some of my best friends still today. And I think Merani is watching, Merani Kini from Koro. She just looked at me and she smiled and she said, just come with me. I'll teach you.
Wow.
So eventually the socks came off and the hair and the makeup, and I sort of, I
then comply
really settled
to
in.
the school rules. Comply.
Yeah. And mind you, my family are making a bet. How long is she going to last? 3 weeks, 1 month. And as time went on, they kept calling. How do you like it? How do you like it? Oh, I'm busy. Call me later. Stop calling me.
We thought she was going to come back after a month.
You know,
to Australia.
And they, after a year, they're coming back to us, Fiji, asking for me to come back to Australia.
1 month to 1 year. That's amazing. Wow.
I really would have stayed longer. I don't know. I think they were really missing me, and I thought, okay,
of course,
Fiji's always here, and I sort of definitely found myself and became a much more confident, just proud Fijian woman. But I've lived it, especially again coming from Australia, being very disconnected and not understanding. That was why I was having so much trouble. You know, my parents have stories for days, but I was just very, very disconnected, very detached. But you know, I still had and I just built a lot of independence. I was just doing everything on my own and just trying to fit in any cultural group and trying to find myself. And all along it was find yourself in Fiji, not with the other Pacific Islanders.
It's hard to get lost and be found in Fiji.
With so many, identity, that was it. There's a lot of identity issues, which now I can see it. But growing up as a teenager, you don't know. You just feel I don't belong. Where am I going to fit in? Who's my group of friends? You know.
It's a lot. I think Mom is just responding and said that your mother wanted you back home.
Oh yes. We have to go and get Laura.
Wow. So that was amazing. I mean, yeah, that is so good. And I know there's some old scholars of Natabua watching. What would you like to say to them?
I don't know who's what. I very much enjoyed my schooling. Everyone I met everyone knows I was just that Australian kid that just did everything opposite. Always in the principal's office. But teachers were just kind of laughing, going, oh, Laura, we don't do that. So it was a lot of me trying to defy the school rules, and then also learning how to just let it be, submit, and understand there's a bigger learning curve for me there, not trying to change school rules.
Wow.
And still quite close with a lot of the friends I made. I still think about it all the time. And you know,
and looks like Tomasi, has asked me to ask you to share your cadet training.
I loved it. I had fun. I think these are my brothers that I stayed with, and I think it was just the best fun of them laughing at me half the time, being this punchy girl. But at the same time, when I'm gonna do it, I'll all in, do it to the best ability. And cadets, I was like, we do cadets? Like, this is crazy. We don't have any of this stuff in Australia. By the time you're 15 or 16, you can already drop out of school and work. But here I am marching around in green uniform, and I think knowing it was such a foreign experience, I was quite oblivious to that pressure. I was just so happy to just be there and learn, and they've probably got more stories they remember that I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
So probably you didn't. I didn't pass out. But there. And on our pass out parade day, I said, "This is it. Everyone thinks you're the Palangi from Australia." I was like, "Today you show them." And
That's right.
I was there, and I marched, and I stood still, and then again, a great experience for me. I highly recommend.
Wow.
It was hard. It wasn't easy, but knowing the outcome for my future self, it was very important. I'd do it again. I'm sending all my kids to the other village. I'll tell you that. They'll never know what Australia or anywhere in the world is. A village.
As soon as they go to class 1, they're going to learn to weave their first mat. And also there was something I noticed with did you find some old films of dad dancing in Melbourne? I remember I saw something.
I had no idea. She's been going through them all.
Well, and again, this is
I have an archive.
With I guess, Mecca movement. So as it started to grow and I started weaving in more cultural attributes and programs or projects, and I thought, I assume everyone knows who my father is and what he taught us. And then sometimes people would go, "Oh, I didn't realize your father." And I said, "Yeah, don't you know this man? Like, he's a bit of a celebrity in Preston." So I thought, better than tell, I just love to show people. And again, I'm a very visual learner. So rather than telling stories, I said, I just want to share obviously through social media, it goes global. So and that's what I know my father growing up, always singing, always doing the meke practice at home, doing the costumes. So that was my upbringing, was just constantly watching my father involved in every way of the culture. The house parties, the wash down, the grog parties, everything. I'm there. So I think as Kaz is a bit older, he's not engaged as much or at all. So finding his archives. Again, we have hundreds of tapes at home. We still have a tape player. And I said, I need to share this with people because it's just such great memory and a legacy. So I don't think he really knew. I just screen recorded it, edited it, put his name, and I just shared it online. I was like, you know what? This is my property now. I'm just going to take it. Then out of nowhere, it's just, I don't think my father also understands that impact that he had on us children of realizing that not everyone's parents either have footage. It's just stories, but we have footage and we have pictures,
I have a vast collection of photographs and just videos and that documents things, but it goes back to the 80s. Family, community gatherings, births, funerals.
Everything my father documents.
Anywhere I go, I document.
The camera is ready. And growing up, it was like, stop. But now I'm like, Dad, on my 5th birthday, do you remember? Yes, I have videos, I have photos. And again, if he wasn't always recording, we wouldn't have had that in the first place, So
that is amazing.
That documentation, it's important for the survival of our personal family legacy, And I think take the always, there's never enough photos. Just memories.
Yeah. What a legacy. Yeah, it's so important.
So now it's putting all those old photos before the digital era. They were just prints. So now it's putting all those prints onto the digital recorded, and as well as transferring all those VHS into digital.
I think my dad gets a bit, I don't think he understands the impact of what he does and how it weaves into what I do.
I have probably over 5,000 albums of photos from different events, and probably I have almost 120 VHS
so many
tapes of recorded
our elders, family of the village, even like all the protocols we can watch from our kaumataningone. Right from because our mom, if mom's watching, she was generally always the camera woman. So because dad was always involved, or teaching someone how to hold this camera, and they're on the village like, wow, what's this? Still, make sure you're following people. So I think
so it has become a great source of resource for you.
And then the more I dig, and I go, Dad, what's this? Oh yeah, in school, and I'm like, this is so big. Like I think I just realized that composed a lot of meke, and he still just and Dad, this is something from you in our dialect from the village back then, and
it's recorded. And she said, "What's this one?" And
then he remembered. It's
very casual about it, but Laura's
give me the lyrics, quick, bring out the meke costume, hurry up. Call the girls, let's learn. And I think, again, it's not just something so broad, it's from my father, and that's not something I want to live on forever, And I can, with technology and using technology to advantage, it's how we can keep that surviving within our family, but also sharing it to the world. I think I love sharing things to people. I get a lot of people online who are a bit disconnected or might not know their family side, and I think just again creating that space to showcase. It's just so beautiful, our culture, and I love it.
That is so beautiful, and I can see some folks from Melbourne also connecting in. They're so happy. Just to see the comments coming through. So those of you who visited their home in Melbourne, I think there's someone
to Preston headquarters.
Yes.
If you have come into Melbourne as a Fijian, I'm sure my father picked you from the airport. You come home with Rob, and this is your personal tour guide. And before you settle in wherever it is, our home's always open. It's growing up again. Every time you wake up, there's someone new here. This is your auntie or your uncle, cousin. Okay, bula, It was especially creating that home away from home, knowing a lot of us want to travel and have opportunities abroad, but we still want to find a Fijian home. So I think Dad's done a great job in hosting thousands of people around the world, whether it's a place to sleep, to eat, or just grow
and dropped off somewhere.
Or they just want to come and Talanoa and speak Fijian. It's, my home's always been open.
I think at one stage Mary was calling it the Fijian embassy.
The embassy, it still is. It's the Matuku embassy.
Matuku embassy.
The embassy come to my father for help. I said, you might as well just put a pole up.
We have one in Canberra and one in Melbourne. Wow, it's a Totoka There's so many relatives and friends all commenting in from around the world. I think Mary just said that you are the unofficial ambassador for Melbourne.
He's the Fijian president in Australia, I think.
Fijian president in Australia. sa Totoka vakavulici. Iya, maro takasarkana noda ese Matuku mai na veivakararamataki vinaka vakalevu na Veitalanoa govero na turanga veitamani mai Levukaidaku ro mendambi vakadrakai na kavinanga kua va vini vinaka sara vakalevu na nomuni sema mai ni rau me Veitalanoa ro na veitamani ya tunangwala ngobe Netani na dapa na numa na nomuni lista langoi malebani tiko na nomuni tuba na buku ni kena tomani tiko nga na vakavulici ni vosa Viti kena meke kena vekango vera na vertona ngone vale si tiko na nomuni rai na tikina ya
vinaka na vakanananu ni kena vakuriti ko nga na vakavulici ni meke na vosa Viti ndei tiko nga kero sabi tomo tikina me vakani na tiko Viti o lora una tiko mai malevani au mbito tiko nga me litaka tiko nga lora na kena takacakaniliga na itovo oya mo nga inda tiko nga me ona ndau ni vakasala tiko yani yambe kana buna au nanungu vitoko ni levu nga mo ndambe vatatiko ko nanungu na vitoko ni kena asoli tiko na vakasala na kena ndavu vinaka na vekai vakavulici kena vandu taki na kai ngandreva tiko me vakavulici yambe kana kali ndo tiko ya me vakana tiko me keo ko kiro tomo tikina na takatunga na program kiro sana kai zoom tinga me na bono kiro tikina ka connect na ngone buli na veiyasai Viti Australia kena veiyasai vuravura tale suara semte me kina me Islandi me New Vanuatu Amerika England Scotland era semat kumekina sona bono me Europe era semat kumekina na buli vosa Viti kena kera na dorbo tutti me malvani karati kana kana bua vakavulici kana buli kana ya pengarabi babon yang lebih kayak menunggu distren ko sa tinggal na bagbo sa tinggal batalik na ito sa koto ukilan to sawar ito may sa kita mau juga na kena itu yan sa bang yun to wara katigmen to natagaman no siu ni saya ba ratu batalimen ko yung mo ko cuma na ko ni siu
Totoka sarnawawati kumaya Totoka vakavulici
yang pengen nakakiro sa vitamotikin ni bukan na tiko talaman na binatan na matawa sa bula kiro sana di waktu na Zoom session yan na tiko ni video ko yung tiko may sana dua kiro sana kay sarbabat nga may kina may semet na nanguni buli sa metin may kina program ya
Totoka vakavulici nakapakalivisara Netani Laura what does 2002 look like to you right now
I'm very present in the moment, and I just when I see the opportunities I just go with it. And I think last year has been such a U-turn from my normal path as a performing artist. I'm generally everything's independent solo and I'm working in LA. So to be able to actually, I think, share and create something that's so special to me, the Fijian culture, I'm quite, whatever, I'm a bit trying to work between being organized, instructed, and just going with the flow and following the demand. And I think, big shout out to our Melbourne community that, I think these classes, it just started off with questions. And I said, look, I'll Zoom you and just ask Dad. And then it turned into a bit of language questions. And I love creating and doing all the marketing. So I started making slides and I just kept it very small. And then one by one, more cousins and more friends. And I was very nervous to sort of open it up publicly because I said, it's not what we do. And I said, we're not teachers, but I said, it might have that one conversation that just sparks something in somebody. And it might be all that they need to find that connection back to Fiji. So we just started, okay, let's try and be on a schedule instead of every random, day. And then it really blossomed into classes. And every Tuesday night, we just open up the Zoom. It's, for itaukei only, globally, whoever. and we try and have a mix of even just pronunciation words and language and whatever the Talanoa might be. Sometimes we try and align it with events that's going on around us, and I think we really just have a lot of fun and just go with the flow and
go with the flow.
whatever they want to learn, that's what we teach. And this year I think everyone's like, when are you coming back? I said, well, we might have to pause the classes because I need to learn as well, and I'm trying to learn, and I still want to find. I'm really not sure. Maybe more. Yeah. We might have to do weaving classes, eh?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to fly to Fiji, and then we'll have our classes here. But again, it's just about opportunity, and just taking each day as it goes. Especially again, I'm quite a very busy, organized, so I'm just trying to unlearn that Western life and just again, when things happen here, and go with it. Definitely not returning until I can speak fluent Lawan. I'm in the perfect house, so I said that's enough. I get a bit impatient or lazy, and I just switch to English. So pressure on.
Yeah, immersion learning it's the best. It's the best. And just get all your name to speak Lawan to you 24/7.
Oh, they can't speak. Yeah.
I think one of the Nay is going to speak in the Kandavu dialect.
Oh, there you go. So you can have a dual language.
Yeah. I just start practicing with a three-year-old, and then sometimes it's a 4-year-old. I said, okay, it's level by level, class by class.
So for those who are watching in tonight, if they want to learn more about make movements and what you do, shall they add you on Instagram? Are you under make movements?
Make movements on Instagram. I'm quite active on Instagram, and more recently I'm trying to share across to Facebook. Okay. Again, lots of just, if you have questions, just ask. And that's what I said. It's just ask. I really want to create that space. If you feel like, I've got the silliest question, it doesn't matter. Like I've always got, no question is silly, but I definitely have been there where you've been uncomfortable and shy and you don't know where to reach out, especially for a lot of mixed Fijians or people living abroad. I've been there, done that. I'm still kind of there. So I want to be able to share firsthand, having somewhere they can relate and just
that's only something that some students always say, like they feel shy. So if they come to make movements, whatever questions they have, they can just post it there or inbox you, and you can just navigate. Yeah.
And Fijian or English, and usually if we can't help, I can try and help them. Even about protocols. Sometimes people ask about protocols, and I said, my father, again, he knows lots about everywhere, but specifically to Lao, and how we relate. And again, just not to be shy. And even with your page, I think there's lots of avenues now that are coming up on social media, and it just starts with that question. Just all it is a question, and it just everything goes from there.
Absolutely. And that huge collaboration that we could do, and utilizing the social media platform, to promote and share. And then for those who are logging in, listening in around the world, to share the love, across the social media platform. That's great, because we are using the all of Fijian language and culture, out there into the world, because at the moment, live now, but if we have the language classes that you are doing in Melbourne, and that's amazing, that you can be able to empower a lot of our young people all over the world. That is great. Netani, dengan nomubos ngani vakandre ke sena veivakararamataki ke na mbong binakani kua ena bukuni no the Veitalanoa.
Na kampeng au via tupu na nonda varone itaukei liu nango na tau mantuan vosa ena vuravura liu tasati kukina sa liu na ngoni sala ronda warita kina na kain da dia tarong tiko sinda dia kila ai baka satu untuk liu na the message tangayan dai na taro sinto na taro e taro da se sin taro na taro ke era ta ninda dia kila tiko na ka na kena isau sana kai baka tau ke baka kila na kena isau ona sau man ke baka sia ona tukunen odi era di vivu kikina se una bangarain tua me vivu kikina ando banga ya kena karuanga na untuk usanda kunatu wali velor ni saya lingana vosa sana eli talenga ku ken ratna vosa nga na tukuni ken da chikona bingo ke sa senga na vosa na itaukei sana eli talenga na itovo sana eli na veivakararamataki enda saya eli talenga kino ken ya na pono enda peto kina na kundo bandre chiko be lor na bingo buinjini enda bukuni kena bimbi na vosa Pata na vosa itu pun kenda chiko na bingo enda lokina na vosa itu kenda se vosa baka nundo bakandau se baka nanronga se baka pono levu se baka rang se baka lau itu puni ko chiko kena bengkara baka pono itu puni ko tala chuma na mo vosa undo limangau na ni ta kana bengkara ka tuni dia mau bakarauta kana ka bengkara au sando kerker kom keran to bengkara kina baka pono do takap serangan kana vosa kana baka do takap nanronga kana vosa na kato to baka nanronga itu kuna chiko na vanu la ko mekina kira da bengkara Viti ana ka undo sanga baka ko me bakarita menda kile kenda chiko kina na vanu la ko mekina kana bakarau bengan to ka kana vanu di kina kece tiko tu kamu o tumbumu kira tiko nang kase nono go motarungi tiko kina se odeyo yao ana au la ko me veio mangu no yavu no kau no manu no ika na ka kire tu ko ni kenda era tarong ati ko ia do mula sakara ma do
Laka.
Kena mo betul.
Laka.
Anak kambing nga ubia mo rito nga mera kako ni rere na taro. Ito na kanto musityo ti ko may tukulit kung tunangon amphibian. Maunggay daw so nangon mo sanda ba kay sanda sa katuna. Muna ni Viti may bi. Kirubit ang butso papala ni. Mesangay dato na I think metuna I think kung sa sanda po ito turang. Singatan yung I think. Ito to mo sa kilati ko ibi. Ito turang I think kaya ba sa so nga na doubt boy timer. Siyang tundangan play. When nakakita ni kay tuman pa ko ito ang ni Viti maybe may kandap. Hotel ni I think from kandap. Sini sa taro. Tuman sa tinga biyo santo na taman ni emotional lo menurong ada itu yang ngono ko sakala ni ngoni Viti siya ngane kala maybe at ni siya ngani pandi ta ko ya una ngoni Viti may kandap ya baka ngani Viti no sa sinto to sunu Viti no ni tunu tinga ko I think sa sin tarong telan kandap maybe siya nanrong maybe ya baka siya tintangan ni pandi ta raw pa ni ngot na pono la ko Viti na pero ngi kila wata maybe na pono na esa na ya sen na yan ya ko Viti quando tu na ya buni tundo na buli na no odeyo ya tu na utanga ya odeyo ya na rangu na tamangu na buni ko may kina o tinangu na buni ko may kina sangay lo so buni matanggali ano ko Totoka ano ko vusa na kakede ano koro mera ana identity no basic identity itu pun tiko ya na ngoni ni Viti ya mo kilay ko yung ibe may Viti siya ngoni kanta may suba sa Malo wala mo kira taman
dina saranga topar saranga nakatuna
kanta may bangasaw siya nga sini yung kanta mo so nakakina menda kilay kenta kung dipira ko kira sa tiko ng kasi nung mo tarong ira trukin nira ibin anata na ni nandot nakita tu karibi bawanu itu karibi wan nanda sarang daw tartingo nataba kito vikat mataki kina tika sangkai daw to boleh mo matalatak kina ya sangkai daw balisita lebih na ko bali tarong abi nom daw gasi nataba daw vikat mataki kina sera bun vikat itovo kina me timu me bali na ba pamabala na buni ni berni gai kina me so ba Tingin ba ngayon, biya bakan repetigo veikeda na nonda vosa, saya linga na vosa, saya lina itovo, saya Ayan nga nakaw nanungguray o yaw. Live na gano'n, sangay sangatal tingko may vakavulici na vosa. Sumay na kain balitiba.
Sendia na todo saranga babi ni binak saranga bakalewe na veiuqeti o sibi na vosa ko tun chika lorai na nomudrau tuku na liu lora na vosa language dara kawa tuku na baliti Australia when the language is dara kawa like when the language is la kanayali na vosa and sayali na vosa sayali na culture. So things get lost along the way. So the language is like a tool that you need to hold on to. Language and culture should be going together.
It's definitely a pillar to Fijian culture. But again, as an example, I don't speak fluent. However, I'm still continuing to, I will learn eventually. It's such a long thing to learn. So everything else in the meantime, I can learn that too. At the start it was I can't be Fijian until I speak fluently. And I realized that created a lot of resistance to practicing any Fijian culture because I had in my mind, if I don't speak fluent, I can't be Fijian. And I think coming to school and visiting here a lot and just conversing with a lot of other Fijians and realizing it's important as the language is and being fluent in Fijian, not slang, which I've learned. I speak a lot of slang. It is indeed a major factor to the Fijian culture. However, there's many other small factors that you can keep practicing and learning. And, that's, living in the house, the little household duties, our arts and crafts, our gardening, the ocean, there's so many more things. Cooking. What else is there? Just a way of life, our different sorts of respects, the relationships you have, the history. So I love history. So I think that's what's always kept me. Okay, but how did we do it in the days? I don't care about now, but how did we normally do it? How did they do it back then? What's the traditional way to do things? I don't like whitewashing culture. And again, living in Australia and America, I see the whitewashing of culture. I see how easy it is to just start to change. And of course, this is not, if you have to live within your means. So I understand overseas you don't have access to certain things. So it's okay if you sort of change it here and there. But when you live here in Fiji and you have access and you have the resources, yet you're choosing to, but we'll do it like a Palangi way. I just have to question the choice in that and the intention of why why you want to do that for, and do you know the right way to do it, and the impact of you choosing to do something Western and idolize that over your Fijian way to do things. Like I always say, if a knelt down and gave me a ring, I'll throw the ring away. Don't ever do that. I just, for me, if you know me and the way I'm raised, there's only one way to do things for me, and that's the Fijian way. I might sell the ring. I might keep the ring, and but again, it's little things that I've decided to make choices of. Okay, what do I believe in, and what do I want to practice? Why, And everyone's different, and again, each to their own. If you'll be happy in what you choose and the way you choose to practice, but know the right way to do it and know the cultural way to do it. If you are making choices to try a culture, again, a lot of interracial marriages. You're sitting there with your partner and you're wondering, okay, which way do we do it? So like my father, he did both. They had about 4 weddings. So they could have a Palangi wedding and they can have the Fijian wedding. So it's a lot of energy and it's a lot of uncomfortable conversations. And I think end of the day, whatever you believe in and what you want to do, that's fine. And me, I can't tell, I love being Fijian, so everything I do has to be the Lauan way. Not Fijian, the Lauan way.
The Lauan way.
Has to be, if it's not my dad approved, if it's not got the tick of approval from dad, we'll do it again. Or my better. So, yeah.
You have to have that seal of approval.
Yeah, it's not there,
big tick.
the return to sender. Everything I do, Dad, is it Dad? And he's like, oh, just enough.
So you know what? I'm just so excited about that Talanoa, and even the comments that were coming through. People were like, when you ding the huli I'm sure there will be lots of followers on Make Movements. They'll be following you on social media. So it's so nice. And for you and Dad to connect by Zoom and continuing your vosa Viti, that's amazing. I love that, that we can use technology to connect everybody.
Yeah.
Yes. To conclude our Talanoa today, over to you both for take mo Netani ke doang nomu vosa bet ngani baka binbina kasi baka bula si baka mo de ber baka rong chikumai ni ber ni tava no to Veitalanoa, and then we'll end with Laura with your last words of advice, of last comments, or bula shout out to your friends. Netani.
Nakapalevu yan. O baka bula ka baka mo talagang manangayan ikina veikeda sa o sema kina kara sema tiko may vikito na kavnikua kiberto na tiko may Queensland roto na bubali na tuibanga roto tiko may serne nung tinangulaylay o taribi ni tuibanga kiroto na no bubali tevita na nungu bubale roto tiko may malevani pamura tugani pamoja tugani biko meri mitaka nyo sa bulan-bulan nakatalitiko sa toro tiko na takavaka ave Natasha may Hong Kong o bulan pamoja tugani veikemudrau kei itaka nito sa nakataka ve James kay Lola kay namakumbong o Ebenezer may Perth bulan pamoja tugani veikemudrau kung hindi nakatigayan na kanang ito na itabi sa tuwan na bisin ni Mataka kina nangatunin ng ngonit kung may serne o meroni o bakambula kay Rona Veiuqeti o Aquila bati kay Torika o ambula tuwan veikemudrau bati ka na Mako tikulikina o ambula pamoja tuwan veikemudrau na karnikua nabiwakan yung tiko na veiyasai Viti rato nga may Amerika na bunga ng ngonin at tinandra na nonra momo nonra tata na tukandra momolamba kay na iserima au bakambula pamoja talaga ni veikemudrau nitaka ni ndo bulan-bulan nakatiko pinakapakalibo ready nito siya matikman na kabnikua nitaka ni tos pinakatiko ng garabi ni tabi may sanandua kinando na bungo tiko sa may Englandi kina veyokan ra tiko may kina aratiga na British Army already ni soy siya matikman na kabnikua pakambula pamoja talaga ni veikemuni kina pa ni binaka na tabi ng garabi tiko na kumanyamba tungo kinano ko matubali pa pinakapalibo ko Laura o pinakapalibi kemro na nin roti ko na kabnikua na kena may garabi roti ko ng bato usot na bati kay Dr. Teresa na kabnikua kemro na tabalim na kabal na bati kay Takoba pinakapalibi na may vito ko na kabnikua kemro mga elew may loma pinakapalibi na vito ko na kabnikua o pinakapalibi kemuni maramayan nangon na pinakatumin dambikina takatiga na Veitalanoa veivassai na kabnikua namun ngau na nisolia kena bang dia tiki ngai so na tugutuk me David tamo tikina kara borong tu me kina so lipa kasa matik pere borong tu me na kabnikua pinakapali
Malo maklip Sara Netani Totoka vakavulici siamo cuma na viwakani vakavinaka dedeke ngole tiko mai na veiyasai Viti veiyasai vuravura naka vakalevsar Netani nando tutaka na nando vosa na itovo vakavulici na balavu ni nomungono tumei malevani vakilai vakamawe ndaronika na veikau vakadora taraira na veivuvale so ana vakavinaka lako tiko mengo kena nero ndo Veitalanoa talanga ke tasa ndo nakana no ndo vakadimbidimbita ke muni o tasa na nona marotaka na vakavulici ndo vakava tiko mai vale o klado ne varita ke vinaka o vakava tiko Netani ke muni na tamu ena kena litake ndo na lomani vale na kena vakavulici ka vakabimbita ke na veikau ngo berna luven vavini vinaka kena satu serangan kodar kena varitak na ngoni marama o lora na nona vinaka me vulida na veka reda mai na ngoni se ngoni le kina ia marotaki ni samenda bichiko na mataka na ka vinaka ni kua na nona ngumo to taka chiko kwa me vuli tali metali yamba kena veka ke mena vulida na veka vakavulici veka vakalau veka Matuku me bertona nona ni na vale besar. Yeah,
Malo.
Laura, over to you, Laura.
Oh, I don't know what to say. Yeah. I'm just very grateful for my father, and just for accepting me as well. Just the hardships of being a mixed child and frustrations of having to teach your child your language, and that's not something that I think a lot of parents thought they'd have to do, is teach a language. So I'm grateful that my father has the patience to help me, knowing how important that is for me. And his family, my family, how everyone has let me, stay with them and understand, I come from overseas. So, every now and then I do something a bit off, but, they're very supportive in helping us learn and teaching me the right way and showing me, because that's what end of the day, why I'm here is to just connect and understand my identity as a Fijian woman. So yeah, it's hard, but it's definitely worth it. And just ask the questions and find those outlets and find the right people, and just sort of embrace the entire journey. It's not always going to be everyone willing to teach you, and there'll be a lot of telling offs as well, and that's just part of the journey. And just be proud, whether you're half, quarter, whether you have any relation or connection to your Fijian family. Fiji is always here, and the Vanua is always there, and we just got to work a little harder. And all the support, my friends, my family, who just from the beginning of making movements till now, it's been very inspiring, and I just want to keep doing more and sharing more. And while we have our elders with us, while our parents are with us, it's important to just every moment matters. So
Yes.
Every conversation, every question, while they're here, ask them, talk to them, stay home, have dinner with them, sit with the Talanoa, learn, don't forget our elders. They're there, and they've got probably the closest knowledge to a village lifestyle, more than Twitter or Instagram can give you.
Mr. has become the companion for most.
Yes. But it's within your means. If that's all you have, it's there. So I guess with both of us, it's about trying to create a more genuine platform that's run by itaukei and for itaukei.
Yes.
Thank you all for the support. Mum and Dad, James and Tash, Lorraine. Like that.
Naka, naka vakavulici, Laura na vosa de veivakararamataki. I remember, well, yes, last night I interviewed a lady, I'm sure she's listening to, Andiula Mila Vakalalambure, and she's from Natewa. And she's currently doing her PhD studies at the University of Canterbury. And she said something last night, and everyone was so moved by what she said. And she was saying that even though she's at a university in New Zealand, which is a recognized university, but she's going to go back to Natewa, which is her university. You know, that is where she will actually get approval from her own people to access those indigenous knowledge that she's asking for. And she was saying that now she's overseas, she's half, she's Aitutaki, her mother is from Aitutaki in Cook Islands, and the dad is from Natewa, but she's realized the beauty of being in two different heritage that has made her so unique, and also the fact that she's now acknowledging and embracing the indigenous knowledge space, which she kind of ignored earlier on, but because she's left Fiji, she's now looking back home and she realized, wow, that has been my university all along, you know. And what a beautiful way, you know, to end our Talanoa today, you know, that your dad, Netani, left Levukaidaku, you know, so many years ago. And now through you and through Tasha and through James, and now with Ebenezer, you know, reconnecting all of you back to your vanua. And it's such a wonderful way to kickstart 2022. And, you know, we know that you have amazing programs set for the year, but we are also grateful. Everyone who's listening in are so moved. I remember I read a comment by a lady in England. She said, Laura, I'm going to show this video to my children. There you go. You know, and even if we have touched one life or one family from this Talanoa, that is an amazing success, you know, and you have done so well, you know, with the experience of wanting to stay in Fiji and wearing those white socks and that white dress. You know,
Yes.
you know, and telling your parents, I don't want to leave, you know, I want to stay. But it's just so lovely. Even your cousins in Totoka, I remember when I asked you, what's your plan for 2022? And your cousin said, you can stay here for another year. So there you go, to have a repeat of the time you spend in Atamua. So just so amazing. I was so looking forward to this Talanoa, and so is everybody else. But I'm sure for you both and your nay, and your two nays and your momos also there for their support, and your DJs, Vinaka Vakalevu, you know, yes, the DJ and the cover mixer, because I keep seeing the bowl. You know, I have to tell Dad, if it's Kandavu cover, that's the best.
It is.
It's Kavala Bounty.
I'm in support.
Very nice.
Only groggy drink.
The best. Yeah, the best Kavala. Vinaka Vakalevu Sarah. So a big Vinaka Vakalevu from all of us here. Maybe if you can pan the camera and just say bullet to your nays and your momos, and we'll wave goodbye. Vinaka Vakalevu Laura. Malo Vakalevu Sarah. Madamanda.
Vinaka.
I'll stand up.
Vinaka Vakalongata na tali kena vakavulici ni Laura.
This is on my yaga here.
Naka valeu Sara, nada me tocou ali. Iya.
Naka na mua.
Sabe, naka na me tocou ali tiko. Naka tu valeu tiko, naka valeu na loloma. Iya, sandon, naka valeu Sara Netani, naka valeu Laura. All the very best, and we'll definitely keep in touch, yeah? I can hear the song again. Okay, on my DJ, on my. Nakabalevu, Matamanda. Yeah. Take care. Nakabalevu.
All right.
Okay. Thank you so much. Dumade, Naka. Isa. Daka makalev sarvi kami na sema tikumeni kuwa Totoka vakaoti na Veitalanoa kero na veitamani. Baka nilalaman din na baka turuan ni mata na Veitalanoa and sa gironga daw tingangoy. And na tinital ngangoy na doon na sere membaliti Matuku. Doon na sere sarto tika po na may Viti na sere membaliti Matuku. Kung goy do talen na Matukun dua. Unita ka niyo ni natalitak. So vinaka makalem sara vikem ni na sema tikumay na singo vinaka ni kuwa mara tekisar na noda sema bata keri tiko ki na yan Totoka Matuku na maro taksar bakalevu ni veikeda na non romai Veitalanoa tiko na turanga veitamani o Netani Coriakula ke lora Coriakula kanimarau na nonro suletu na nonro ngona mero me biho se tu weekend na sing bina kanikua na nona tali takatiko o lora na nona bina kata na tali watake na vulida na vosa vakaviti ke na veikeda keleitani kina na ngonele ongo tali dina na nona wakarita katiko koe na nona bina kata me vulida na veika ndo tani kino koe ni ngone leo ni Levukaidaku na yani on Totoka Matuku na ya tulau dina ni maramatinana marama ni Australia tiko biko na yalo na nona bina kato koe me vulida na veika keleitani kina Totoka vakavulici na nonro me Veitalanoa na turanga veitamani veikemudrau na sema tiko mai na vesi vuravura au ni taka ni na Levukaidaku vulida ni kua na keni matai na nona itavi vakatama o Netani Coriakula na nona Veitalanoa ke na marama o tina na bimbi ni nona bula itaukei tua sesar nga koe vakadondonu verto na nona leo ni vale keni karua na nona tutaka na veika itaukei kardo sarava saranga na ngoni na nona na veikeda kava na nona bula na meke na vudu na vingaragara vakabono na veikeda vai vakaritak saranga koe na nona lomani vale erto buli binak saranga kina na ngoni vakambula sar tiko Tasha na kavale Tasha na sema tiko mai Hong Kong James ke Lola ke Ebenesa bina kavale na sema tiko mai Perth sanga talangani ngule kina na maramatinana to Mary Coriakula sema tiko ngome malapani babini bina kasar na mabuvale na Coriakula na bunada buni sema tiko mikina solitu na veivakararamataki tataki na nomudrau matavuvale na buku ni vengaraf Totoka ndo mai vakadrakai kabina kani kuenda Veitalanoa au sa vaka mati chukayani veikemudrau sara mai na ya tu Hawaii ni mode mati